Cheat Code.
Hey everyone, welcome to Pickleball Cheat Code, the show for competitive pickleball players who want to level up their game. We focus on advanced strategies for experienced players, stuff only the pros really know. I'm Brodie Smith, and I'm with a very, very special guest today, pickleball legend and Carbon's very own, the man himself, Mr. Thomas Wilson.
Pickleball has been.
Oh my God. Today we are covering the transition from tennis to pickleball, along with what it takes to be a top pro. And then at the end of the episode, I'm going to be putting Thomas in the hot seat for a round of rapid fire questions that he doesn't know what's coming. So I'm excited for that.
Oh, God.
And if we've done anything to improve your game, please go ahead and share this show with your pickleball community.
I'll tell you what, we won't improve anyone's backhand on this pod.
Well, before we dive in to all the backhand talk, luckily we did a whole episode on that previously.
Thank goodness.
We got a lot of good things to chat about here. As I mentioned, the transition from tennis to pickleball, about you and your game, what makes you special, what makes you unique. But before we get into all the coaching aspects, would love to discuss what's going on with you and your personal life. Obviously there's been health complications. People are missing you out in the court. So would love to get an update on that if you don't mind sharing. So if you want to take the floor there and just give a super brief overview, that would be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a wild year, to say the least. I mean, I think it was last June where I started having weird health stuff. It just kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, I just quit my corporate job finally at the end of Q1. And I'm like, all right, let's go full-time pickleball. Cause I was doing both for 2 years, working remote and full-time pickleball. And it just got to be too much, plus adoption thrown in. So it was just wild. And I finally was like, okay, let's just give pickleball some focus for once. So I was excited to see where I could take it, right? Because I never was able to train full time. And then 2 months into it, I started having some minor breathing issues. And anyway, just went downhill really quickly in the matter of 6 to 8 weeks. I played a couple tournaments in between there, but it got to the point where even sitting here, it's I can't breathe normally. I can't take a deep breath. I can't yawn. I have muscle twitching, numbness, just all these crazy symptoms kind of came out of nowhere. I get hospitalized for months. They think I have horrible diseases that I don't even like to speak of because it was a dark time. We were talking about the will, it was that bad. And no one really knew that. Obviously, what am I going to do? Post on social media? Hey, my wife and I are going over the will right now. What the,
Yeah.
The only way to get through it is to kind of laugh through it at this point. But I'm not in the hospital anymore, which is great. I still can't do really any active stuff. We don't really have any answers yet. We're kind of on a path of figuring out what it is. But anyway, I'm better than I was, but still days are rough.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I appreciate the update there. Obviously it's a difficult time with a lot of confusion, but like you said, glad you're, out of the hospital. At least you're in a good spot at the moment. But everyone misses you dearly, as you obviously know. So we're excited to hopefully see you out there again one day and just see you involved in the sport one way or another.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. It's crazy. Just all the fans and especially the support from Carbon. I literally wouldn't have survived the last year without Carbon's support. I mean, it's been unreal. I'm hoping to get back out there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then regards to your family, second baby just came along. Tell me about that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we adopted baby girl Holland. She's almost 2, which is wild. And then we adopted another little baby girl a few months ago, and she was born a few months early. We were in the NICU for a while, got back to Texas, I don't know, recently-ish, a few weeks, a month, 2. I don't know. It's all a blur. But she's, considering the situation, she's healthy, and we're just living 2 under 2. But it's been an amazing distraction in a way.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'd just be sitting here just wallowing in my misery of health versus changing diapers and bottle feeding. So it's incredible. Her name's Haven. So she's a little peanut. Holland and Haven, man.
Holland was unbelievably adorable. Luckily I met her. I'm excited to meet little Haven now next too. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
That's sweet. All right. Well, that's a good distraction then. That's awesome. Okay. So what we mentioned at the top of the episode about transitioning from tennis into pickleball, people don't know you were a big time college tennis player. I mean, you tell me a big time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you tell me. I could be wrong.
Let's go mid tier.
We'll call it. We'll say D1 tennis player. But would love to get a background of your tennis background and the transition into pickleball. And I think it's really noteworthy because there's so many people switching from tennis to pickleball, and there's so much drama in the sport too, where tennis players hate on pickleball players hate
Yeah.
on tennis. But would love to get a little bit more insight in terms of the transition that you made, how long that process took, and a little bit more into the weeds there.
Yeah. So I played, I played tennis. I played all sports my whole life, but then I was so small growing up. Tennis was kind of the default, and it fit my skill set. So it literally wasn't even my first choice. I wish I could have played college basketball or something.
You're a basketball guy too. That's
Dude,
what I did,
yeah.
but I was too small, so I switched
Yeah.
to pickleball too. Yeah.
I'm 5'10" now, thankfully. They thought I was going to be like much smaller, but I also grew extremely late.
That's what I did too.
It was like I got the worst of both worlds in that department.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, I played college tennis at Purdue for 2 years, transferred to Texas where I finished out, and then didn't touch a tennis racket after college for I don't know how long it was, like 7-10 years in the corporate world, where I just was working, just wasn't playing tennis or really doing much. And then pickleball kind of popped up, maybe 5 years ago. I don't know exactly. My mom got me a paddle for Christmas, I think. And I'm like, what is this oversized ping pong paddle? I had never heard of pickleball, which some people, played in middle school or whatever, but I didn't know what it was. And so I just played for fun with the family. Like, oh, this is a silly game, but fun, obviously. And then I was like, wow, there's a pro tour, played a couple pro tournaments back in maybe 2020, just a random tournament. But then, obviously, like everyone else, you just get super addicted and start playing all the time. And then I started playing more 2021, 2022, and then started going full time at that point.
Like when you picked up a paddle, though, did you start off at like a 4.0 level right away? Were you immediately like 4.5? Like what was that gap like for you to start getting good and getting
I think
fast?
like my specific skill set is like touch and quickness and angles and things like that, which I think transitions a little bit better into tennis. Where if you just because you're good at tennis doesn't mean you're going to be good at pickleball. It's like we see some of the transition, like these big tennis names, like, okay, well, yeah, they're good, but maybe not as good as we thought. Because pickleball is a game, it's a chess game. It's a game of touch, feel, and quickness versus like ripping a huge serve. That's irrelevant in pickleball. It came pretty naturally to me. I played with the Dorman group down in Texas, like everyone does in Central Texas. Call it the Dorman Academy, Christina and Walter, where my parents played too. So like my parents were my practice partners for my entire pro career. I mean, yeah, of course I'd play with pros around the Austin area, but I worked during the day. So I'd work and then go hit with my parents, who are, 5-0s themselves.
Let's go. I didn't know your parents were that good. That's sweet.
Yeah, they're sick. I actually played my first pro tournament with my mom. So
no way.
That was my thought process with pickleball. We took a game off literally like a few months into knowing what pickleball was, and me and my 60-year-old mom took a game off of Steve Deacon and Christine McGrath.
That's badass.
I was like, we almost beat you with my mom. And they're hitting every ball to her, so she would have literally beat them by herself.
That's incredible.
It would have been amazing.
That's incredible.
But we lost. So
okay, well, regardless, you took a game off them, but that's sweet.
Right. Claim to fame.
Yeah, I love that. So for that transition, like you said, it comes down to a lot of touch and a lot of angles. What is there anything that you could see, like from a tennis player specifically, that they're going to become a good pickleball player right away? For example, you say the power, like somebody like Carlos Alcaraz. Do you think he could switch over and play pickleball?
Yeah, he'd be unreal. I mean, it's the people that have complete tennis games. I mean, they have shot variety. So like they're hitting drop shots. They're shot makers. I think is the easiest way to describe it. Like if you just watch tennis and people are hitting, like insane shots on the run or hitting creative little drop shot angles coming to the net, versus like just the baseliner that stays 8 feet behind the baseline and it's just ripping, high heavies. I would say those are less likely to transition and be elite in pickleball. So I'd go with the shot makers.
Love that. And then for yourself too, because like you said, you had that naturally, which is really nice for making that transition. But going from, playing tournaments with your mom to being one of the best players in the world, tell me about that process. Like, were you drilling every day? And like you said, you were so busy with work, so you probably didn't have the time that some other kids have coming into the sport where they're training 6 hours a day. But what steps did you take it to that next level?
Yeah, I think I'd say the first thing, like if you're transitioning from tennis to pickleball, is just you have to swallow your tennis pride. And what I mean by that is you think pickleball is a little silly and you think you can just like kind of run through your opponents and overpower them by hitting hard. That doesn't work. It might work against, players that aren't very good, but if you're going to play anywhere near like 4-5, 5-0 or professionally, you can't just slap the ball. So realizing that you can't just hit a big serve and rip a forehand winner like you can in tennis and like just start ripping clean winners. It's you have to build the point, and it's like I said, it's a chess match, and so just realizing that the game is slower in a way. You have to develop points. You're hitting 3, 4, 5 shots to set up a shot that you want versus just slapping a forehand from wherever you are on the tennis court. So that was the biggest thing. It's just a mindset shift of, okay, this is like every point's like a mini battle, It's
100%. It's a game within a game.
Yeah, and winning a point is so much more rewarding in pickleball than winning a point in tennis because it takes so much more effort, thought, and skill.
Wait, did you say it takes more skill than tennis?
I actually, when I said that, I was like, that might be clipped and used like as a controversial, but I'm not going to say skill, just a different way of doing things than tennis.
Not more, not me.
Pickleball doesn't take more skill than tennis.
It doesn't.
Tennis is way harder than pickleball.
That's fair.
Okay?
That's fair. I'm not going to argue that.
That's why I'm 35 and playing pickleball. I'm 35 not playing tennis. All right.
Yeah. And you see Matt Wright like in the finals, and he's, I don't know, upper 40s.
Yeah, he's not playing Wimbledon. He's
not playing Wimbledon
either. He's playing pickleball.
That's fair. What are some of the most common obstacles that you see for tennis players in doubles, like when they're making that switch? For me, some of the main things are like just relying too much on driving right away. A lack of patience is super common too. It's hard for like to swallow that pride and be able to build the points, like you said. And then from a form perspective as well, it's so hard for tennis players to unlearn certain things. For example, I see like taking the paddle behind your body and going big, and like any shot in the mid court and at the kitchen, as you know, you can't really do that except for rare circumstances. So what are some other things that you see from like a technical perspective of changes that need to be made when they're making that switch?
I think, there's a bunch of little things I can think of, but like probably the most obvious one, which you kind of already touched on, is like, especially when you're at the kitchen line, you're at the net, like mentally, like you are in tennis. And so you revert to just firm wrist and slicing volleys. And so
that's big.
Getting used to, like, you literally have to unlearn that stroke, which is very hard for people to do, especially on the backhand side, because we're always taught this, stick, slice, volley, and that is so ingrained to all of us tennis players.
And it just doesn't work in pickleball.
No, you have to drop the paddle below the ball and literally lift it. So I think the biggest thing I see with tennis players is, like you said, the big stroke, the paddle's going behind their body, like forcing yourself to have zero backswing, come forward, but lifting the ball. I still see even top pros right now that are tennis players, and they're doing well on the pro tour, and they're hitting cuts when a ball's sitting up, versus you see Ben Johns and or Hayden or Gabe that don't rely on a lot of the tennis stuff. They're flicking it from low to high. So I think just getting used to hitting up and hitting top spin on almost every shot in pickleball, I think it's the hardest thing to unlearn.
I was sitting with Donald Young a few months back when I did a little stop in Atlanta, and it was the funniest thing. He did it like 3 times. He's like, God damn it. He's like, I keep doing it. And he knows it immediately right away. It's like, it's just so ingrained, especially when you're somebody as insanely good as he is. But yeah.
Yeah. And I think, just being willing to accept that as soon as possible. It's the players that try to force tennis onto a pickleball court that take a lot longer to do well. But if it's just like, look, yeah, cool, I was a great college tennis player, or I played tennis professionally, like, I don't need to do these things because it's pickleball and it looks silly. Because honestly, some of the strokes look a little lame, or like it's not as cool looking because you're not hitting this big, beautiful stroke. It's a little bit more... It's a little bit more compact and a little bit more wristy sometimes.
Yeah, you've seen me with my grip and how I hit the ball. I look like an idiot,
Hey, dude, we're the forehand kings right here, baby.
Forehand king, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. I don't know what we do if we play doubles together, but whoever's on the left will be playing outside of the court.
It's the only way we would structure. It's like our ultra stacking: one person dead center, one person off the court.
Yeah.
And then one of the last things that I see as an obstacle is too much footwork. because so much of footwork in pickleball, like tennis, you could chop your feet like crazy, fly around. But what's interesting with you is you actually, I feel like, have more footwork than a lot of players, especially at the kitchen. You still found a way to balance the simplicity of simplistic footwork in pickleball along with being able to fly around and, play athletic. How did you find that balance? Because I find it pretty unique. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I see within your game, where you're still sliding around a lot and making big plays and like running around your forehand, for example.
I think I think that worked to a certain extent, but really, I actually think that was more of a bad habit than a good habit because I would use that to get a shot that I wanted versus having all the shots that I needed.
Yeah.
So more footwork to get my forehand. I mean, that's all it was. It's just like if I'm playing the left side and mixed, if they were hitting a dink to my backhand, I'm running around that sucker, moving a lot, then having to move back. So I'm literally the guy running in circles at the kitchen line. Whereas
Kind of fun,
yeah, it is fun,
yeah.
but you get pushed back off the line pretty easily. So
but like versus like you said, like another pro like Ben who doesn't need will just stay flat and then just have the same shot and can backhand roll it out of the air, for example, or
right,
like Ignatowicz, you can take a backhand roll without needing to run around it. So yeah, it's a good
right.
point.
Yeah, and I think a guy like Ben was probably better at ping pong than he was at tennis.
For sure.
Probably still really good at tennis. I don't know,
no, for sure.
but you can tell when he's playing pickleball. In his mind, he's leaning over a table. He's leaning over a ping pong table. When he's in a hands battle, his chest is so far forward. All the tennis players, we're like this. We're backwards or we're straight up, and we're trying to use our arms, whereas he is relying on his legs, a low, wide base, leaning over. So I think at the kitchen line, I think it's a good thing to think of like you're literally playing ping pong and you're trying to take time away. And if you're leaning forward, you don't have to swing as big. And that's why Ben wins almost every hands battle.
It's crazy.
Because he's leaning in and he literally feels like he's on top of you. And so naturally you get defensive and you're trying to scramble to give yourself more time. And then he's just slowly scooting you back step by step. And I see most tennis players retreat.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're playing tennis and you're in scramble mode, you buy time. In pickleball, you can't do that. You feel like you may get a couple extra shots back, but you'll end up losing the point 9 times out of 10.
No, that's huge. I mean, the players that can shrink the kitchen, I feel like we've talked about that before with Tanner on this pod too. Being able to shrink the kitchen is like the worst thing to play against when a player does that, because that's what's going to make you panic too. And it gets in your head mentally and you feel like they're just covering the whole kitchen. And no matter how high the ball is or how shallow it is, they're going to be able to do something with it, whether it's moving you around with a quick out of the air dink cross court or flicking it in your face. Like, who knows? But
it's overwhelming. I mean, it feels overwhelming when people don't give up the kitchen line. I mean, even a guy like Hayden, who's not tall, he has an unreal presence at the kitchen line because he does not give an inch, and he feels he puts so much pressure on you because you have no space to work with. So the top players have figured out a way to hit dinks that are aggressive to where they don't give you a dead dink to where you can push them around. So they're pushing you around with the dink and they are not giving you any space. And so you just feel like you're suffocating the entire time and you're like, oh, please don't pop it up. So you're just in survival mode and they're dictating. And so that's the difference.
And they're barely moving too.
Level.
Like you said, at the footwork, they're just locked in and just lean forward and they don't have to rely on running around and stuff. But and I wanted to bring the running around part up too, because I do it all the time. And it's like my favorite thing is to run around the forehand, but not because I'm avoiding a weakness, but I also think it's a huge strength. So even if your backhand, let's say, is just as good as your forehand, right, at the kitchen, but don't you feel like running around it completely opens up the court and opens up a whole layer of offense that is really unique? And another player that does this really well on APP side, if you know Max Manthau, Purple Jesus, he's a
dude.
He does it like crazy, and it makes people panic. And I see it all the time. And he gets that paddle tip down, he's around it, and you don't know if he's going outside roll, down the line, or straight through the middle. So I just feel like there's some pros to that at least too.
I think there are, but I think that's becoming like less effective because if you have somebody like I had Viv in mixed, she was so good at covering me and having that massive backhand down the middle. So she saved me a bunch while I was trying to do that.
Yeah.
It definitely works, but it has to be on the right ball. If you have time, if they hit a little bit of a slower or higher or more dead dink, you do have time. But if they're hitting penetrating dinks, which is becoming more of a thing. Like if you watch Hayden dink, I don't know why I keep talking about Hayden, but he's just so freaking good.
His fundamentals
I
right
mean,
now are crazy. He's a good player to look at for coaching and stuff for sure.
yeah, like his dinks are so aggressive every
Mm-hmm.
single time. He's hitting no dead dinks, and he's not giving the opponents a chance to dictate the dink battle. And he has the fastest hands. I mean, it's a deadly combination. So I think running around and moving is going to be even less effective. So that's why I was curious. Like if I get back out on the court, hopefully next year, I'm gonna have to learn some stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't rely just on the forehand.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe we'll find out, and we'll see. It's still the old ways are the best ways. Who knows? But that's a really good point.
Maybe.
So then, do you feel like it's a weakness then too? Because I'm thinking even about my game as well. And now I feel like I'm running around it too much. Now that you say that as well, if I want to, take it to the next level, for example, are you ever backhand flicking? Like if you get a ball up on the backhand side that's a little high, are you just punching? Do you roll? Like what is your offense on that side if it lands dead on the left of you?
That's the thing. I have zero offense on my backhand side. I mean, truly. Like if for those who ever watched me play,
preach to me too.
When did I ever hit an attack on the backhand side? It just wasn't a thing. It was just like, okay, I'll make the ball on the backhand side and then hope I can run around and get a forehand to attack. So that's the other thing too, is like if the players that are at the top right now, they have offense off of both sides. Hayden has offense off both sides. Ben does it. All the players at the top, they can hold the paddle on both sides and flick it and make it look like a dink or an attack. So it's all about disguise too, having the same exact stroke on both sides, having a slight hesitation versus if you have a continuous stroke, it's just so much easier to read. But when there's that pause, you don't know when it's coming forward and there's no backswing and it gives you less time to read. So developing that on both sides is absolutely critical.
And drawing the dots or connecting the dots to tennis, then that's something that you never have to do in tennis, right? In terms of like a pause per se. I didn't come from tennis. I played casually for fun. So I don't really know in terms of a high level. So you tell me. I mean, that's probably another tip per se for people making that switch of like patience, letting the ball drop. I always say, letting that ball hit the apex when you're at the kitchen. And then as soon as it starts to decelerate and come down, that's when you're able to create offense, get in that triple threat position per se, and really dictate the points.
Right. Yeah, and it's so hard to unlearn the tennis strokes because they're these just big, long, beautiful, strokes that sure that'll work out in the baseline, like Hunter Johnson just destroying passing shots and singles. That's different. We're talking about more doubles. And I think that's a key thing to train, for anybody in general, but especially if you're coming from tennis to pickleball, when you're dinking at the kitchen line, get used to do whatever little mini windup you want, but then do a slight pause right before every single shot on both sides, just kind of getting that rhythm. Pause and then let your body and your paddle head move forward together because you don't want to be falling back either. So it's kind of like load on the back foot, right foot if it's for your forehand, pause, and then either hit a dink or speed up because it looks the exact same no matter what you're going to do.
It all comes down. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's whatever offense you want to create. It all comes down to that back foot loading properly. I feel like that's everything that you could just watch a player and know within seconds if they're below 4-5 or below 4-5, for example, and you just see that footwork. If they're planting that leg every time that they can in the kitchen, I always say it's speed to the ball, then it's slow motion, then we're slowing down, and then we put the power back on our side. So I think that's a really good point and good tip there. And
yeah, so true. I mean, if you look at Ben, especially he plays the left side all the time. People can hit like a nice backhand roll that pushes him off the kitchen line. To your point, he gets over there quick. He gets behind the ball, so he's not reaching with his arms. His body is behind the ball. He plants with his left outside foot, and as he's hitting, he's nice and slow, but he's moving back to the kitchen line. So it's moving back and then hitting when you're moving forward. Whereas all of us tennis people, if you get pushed back, we're going to reach with our hands and hit a little. You're leaning back, but then you don't have time to get back to the kitchen line for the next shot. So not even 4.05 level. I mean, this is still at the pro level.
100%.
You can see even in the semifinals, a difference of that at the kitchen line. Some people are still kind of falling back and not moving forward. So
Exactly. And I think
any level.
it comes down to as well as just keeping that ball in front of you and within your frame. Whereas tennis, everything's outside of your frame, right? So that's such a distinction of like keeping that ball in front of you. And you need to have that early footwork to get there, plant, like you said, and then have that ball in front of you to make whatever shot you want to hit. And then so when
Agreed.
people, I guess the last piece I was looking to touch on too is like, if you are making that switch, what are some drills to work on specifically? Would you just advise as simple as like kitchen resets, just keeping it very compact because tennis players are already so good at the baseline? I mean, that's what I can think of, but didn't know if there's anything that worked best for you, for example.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question because I mean, drilling wasn't something that I did a ton of. I would kind of just work and then go hit all the shots with my dad for about an hour.
Nice.
Or I would train with Viv sometimes at like 6 a.m. at Lifetime indoors before work, and try to work on specific things. But I would say the biggest thing is not getting pushed back at the kitchen line. So I would work on hands and just zero backswing. I mean, you're moving forward. You're leaning in, not moving forward necessarily, but you're leaning in with zero backswing on your dinks and in hands battles because you want to take this big stroke, long stroke, and then stop. It's the opposite. It's stopping and then forward. So it's complete opposite thought process, especially in a hands battle when you're hitting volleys. So I would just drill that over and over again. Get to the point where your dink looks the same as a speed up, same exact stroke, same exact pause, and then hands, keep it short, keep it in front of you with zero backswing. I mean, I don't. That's my answer because I didn't do a ton of drilling, so I honestly don't have like, and
that's
coach
the
pickleball,
perfect way to sum it up. I feel like, and because for all the coaching that I do, especially when I'm helping convert tennis players over, I think you just hit the nail on the head completely. And just having that mental focus, it doesn't have to be a specific drill, but like you said, if that's your focus going into any session that you have, I feel like that's the biggest piece of advice that you can get, and that's perfect.
Yeah, but I guess one more small thing, like you said, like in the resetting, a lot of tennis players are scrambling and they're moving around. But if you watch the top guys or women,
they look like they're taking a nap at the middle of the court. They're just chilling.
Literally. I mean, just relax. That's another thing too. I would say is depending on the shot, like for dinking or for drops or resets, the grip pressure is huge because tennis, you tend to have a pretty tight grip on the racket.
True.
Pickleball, if you just relax that wrist a little bit more, relax that grip pressure, it is so much easier to reset, to dink, and to just have the soft touch that you need. Of course, when you're in a hands battle, it'll be different. But even still, like if you look at Hayden, that dude is just like, what? It's a whip. It's like, a quick little whip. So I don't even think he's gripping the paddle hard on hands
same
battles.
with J-Dub. J-Dub is like the same thing. He looks like he's taking a nap. He looks like he's thinking about what he's doing the next day and what he's having for breakfast. Like that's
right.
You need to be so calm and relaxed, and which is counterintuitive as well.
Yeah.
To tennis players.
Or I feel like a guy like Augie is a great example too, just to bring someone different up. But he has such a wide low base, and his transition from the baseline to mid-court to the kitchen line is so effortless and seamless, but he does it so well because he has such a low stable base. He's not taking these big strokes. He's just, nice and compact, and he's relaxed too. Versus like, if you're tense, if you're gripping the paddle hard, you can't have the proper touch to hit a nice fluffy reset back into the kitchen.
Exactly.
So it's a strong low base with a nice relaxed upper body, and feel like you're just in complete control of your body. And also posture. His posture is just like, I mean, he's perfectly balanced, just kind of like Ben. So I think balance is huge too. You see the tennis players, we're tipping over. If we get stretched out here, we're reaching, but getting your body there in front of the ball. It's kind of like I played baseball growing up, so I was a shortstop. And so when you're feeling a ground ball, you're not reaching because that ball is going to maybe bounce over your glove. Yeah, you move forward, you attack it, you have posture, and the ball is in front of you at all times. So I think that's another way to think about it for maybe some baseball players that are transitioning over too, because there's some good baseball players that are playing pickleball too.
We'll do another episode on baseball players going to pickleball. What pros do you think right now, let's say like call it top 100 of PPA pros, do you think are ex-tennis players? At least like high level, maybe we'll call it high level high school or college. If you had to take a shot in the dark, I know
I'd say 95%.
95.
90.
Are there any that stick out that aren't like that are top of mind?
I mean, my cousin AJ, he played some tennis. He played high school tennis. So it's not like he was a bad tennis player.
Yeah.
But he was a hockey player through and through.
All right.
So he still had some tennis in there, but still, I mean, not like, college tennis or anything. That wasn't his main focus. So he's insane. I mean, his hand speed and stuff. Who else is there?
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Oh, Ivan Jakulovic. I don't know how to say his last name.
I think I know you're talking about.
Yeah, he's a lefty. He's a soccer player.
Pesa, soccer player too.
Yeah, Pesa had no tennis.
I don't think he had any tennis. Yeah, that's crazy.
Ivan. There's got to be a handful of others that are up there, but I mean, it's got to be 9 out of 10 had solid tennis background.
Yeah, and that's funny. I'm curious what the future of the sport will be. Is like now we see these kids just going straight into pickleball. It's like now let's call it 90%, like you said, which is probably pretty accurate. I'm curious, like 10, 15 years from now, if it's going to be like bread and butter pickleball players that were through and through pickleball their whole life and never touched a tennis racket. It's like what percentage is that going to look like? It's really interesting.
Or ping pong, like that guy Len Yang. Is it Len
Len's
Yang?
A beast. Yeah, Len.
Yeah, I mean ping pong player.
Yeah, no, he's a monster, and he just I think he won APP or U.S. Open with Jack, which was awesome.
So ping pong is definitely a more natural transition to pickleball than tennis is. Yeah, you may not have the ground strokes and stuff in pickleball, but ground strokes aren't critical for doubles. I mean, single sure, but
yeah, two different games right there. I mean, I feel like we broke down a lot of really good tips here, which was awesome, and I think so many things that you said was just like perfect in what I try to coach for bringing tennis players over too. And two of the biggest takeaways I heard were that
that you have allergies and you need Zyrtec. This is sponsored by Zyrtec, by the way.
The biggest takeaways that I got were
he couldn't think of anything, so he just sneezed and coughed. That was so fake. The biggest takeaways, you're like, oh crap. He didn't say anything valuable.
Takeaway was that tennis is easier than pickleball. Was the only takeaway that I could bring up.
For sure.
Oh god,
that's why everyone's ditching tennis for pickleball, because pickleball's harder.
It's way harder. Exactly. God damn it. Okay, let's wrap up. End of the episode. Like I promised you, I'll only give you one pass for these questions, so you only get one skip if you want to skip any of these. They're not that hard. They're pretty straightforward. They're pretty light, so don't worry about it. Quick, rapid fire. There's like 10 questions or something. So here we go.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it'll be fucking 2 seconds. You're fine. Most overrated shot in pickleball.
Most overrated shot.
Just say backhand.
Yeah, you don't need a backhand. Backhand's completely overrated.
Thank you.
But if a real answer would probably be a drive. I mean, yeah, drives are still effective, but almost every other shot's more important.
Fair, good answer. Favorite partner you've ever played with?
Vivian David.
I knew you were going to say that.
Obviously,
great answer. Dream partner, somebody that you never played with, but wish you did or wish you could have.
Oh, that's tough because I feel like I had a bunch of good partners. I would say I'd probably just go with Hayden because I think he's
another
so
Hayden
good.
edition.
I mean, I don't even we're not even really friends necessarily, but I've just been watching so much pickleball. And he's just so impressive. So I would I would want to do it from a perspective of like feel and learn what it's like to play like that.
Love it.
So from a level perspective, that would be like more of a learning. But as far as fun, I did play my last tournament actually before I got officially hospitalized was Jack Sock.
That's right.
And we were planning on playing a little bit more, so that would have been a riot.
That would have been, it's like you said, just running around the backhand, same thing as you and I playing together.
We had a lot to figure out for sure.
But I mean, it's got to be scary from the other side of that. You don't know what the hell's going to happen. It's not a traditional match.
Some amazing shots and some terrible shots. But hey, that's what we're here for.
TV magic. Pro player with the worst line calls.
Oh, that's tough to single somebody out.
This could be your pass if you want to use your pass. This is the one that I figured you'd skip.
Dude, there's kind of there's like a lot of shameless, like, I mean, because people know there's a challenge system, but it's just like when I'm playing out there, I'm like, I don't. If people think I'm a cheater, like that's like a reputation thing. It's actually crazy how many people are just like, it's business, and if it's close, it's out. I'm just like,
Drives me
geez,
nuts.
guys,
Like,
you just got overruled 3 times in a row. Like, you gonna sleep at night? Cool.
Yeah, I've seen some drama with you involved, even at San Clemente. Some funny matches with some line calls out there. It gets chippy.
Oh, dude, yeah, it gets. I mean, thankfully, it sounds like the PPA is gonna have automatic line calling
That would
on
be
all
incredible.
courts next year. Which, if everything's going to prize money, I think that's amazing because it's like
It needs to be.
with how many overrules you see, just and you only have that on center court really. So all the other courts, it's like, well, how many dicey line calls are deciding matches? I mean, it's just, I mean, playing a game to 11, a point is huge.
It's just insane. Shout out to your New Braunfels buddies. Who's better looking, Hunter Johnson or Yates Johnson?
Oh, I'm gonna say Yates because they both said Hunter on the last podcast. So I'm.
Did they ask that question?
They did. All right. on their own podcast.
Oh, I didn't see it.
They asked them. Yeah, they asked them.
All right, last question. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston.
That was your fastest answer.
I actually answered one.
All right, Tommy boy, that's all I got for you today. I appreciate you joining. Cool. Appreciate you taking the time here. Good catching up as always. Bro. And hope to see you soon and get some more games in.
I know. Hope we got to get back out there someday, guys. Keep rooting for me.
Go,
Thanks
Tommy.
For all the support from everybody.
We got your back, baby.
Carbon for life.
Let's go. That's all you want to hear.
This is actually a see-through shirt. This is a tattoo.
If you get a tattoo, we'll pay for it. And
yeah, I'm scared
I'll do it. Stuff. Oh, okay. No worries. All right. Thanks, homie.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.